Just right off the bat, I noticed that he does a lot of pausing in between the signs that he does to show the different utterances. And I need to make sure that in my interpretation that I include those pauses in those utterances, and that I don't just make it one long English sentence. Right there, he just did, he asked the audience a question, and he nodded his head and said good. The audience must have been giving him back-channeling feedback, because of that head nod was the reverse back-channeling of him understanding what the audience was saying. So the signer signs good as in like checking for everyone's understanding, and then if he gets that feedback, then he says good, and that's his transition into the next topic. So he signs good, and then he actually shoulder shifts a little bit, and then moves on to the next thing. So being aware of that transition sign is very important to include. Right now, he is fingerspelling, I believe, the title of the book. He is emphasizing every single word that he is fingerspelling. I think he's doing that for clarity to make sure that the interpreter understands the title of the book, but his facial expressions as well seem very aggressive, so that's something to, in my intonation of my voice, to make sure that I include. Yeah, he's talking about the book title, and he's saying that she's really, really angry, and you can tell in the finger spelling, really, really, and it's a lot of fingerspell pause, and the facial expressions. He's in my how I would view that is he's really, really angry, and being able to do that with my intonation is important as well. Also my facial expressions too, because if I'm like really, I can't even do it with like a smile on my face in anger and stress in my intonation. So making sure that my facial expressions match his facial expressions and my intonation mimic the pausing that occurs in his signing. Right there you can tell who the book, he just signed the author, and his facial expressions were calm, and he just signed her name or his name, and you can tell the difference between the fingerspelling of the book title and the fingerspelling of the author's name, and how the book title was meant for it to have intonation and expression in it, and then just saying the person's name is just to say the name. Right now, the signer's body is facing to the right, and he's performing all of his signs to the right. He's kind of setting up the story, the scene, the narration that's occurring, and that's something to keep in mind and to watch for when he transitions into, the middle or the side, and figure out what that space that he's setting up for, what elements are in those spaces, and how he's categorizing. So it's the first thing that I noticed, that when he started telling his story, his body was shifted to the right. All of his signs, his eye gaze, his body movement was all over to the right hand side. And I'm going to be predicting and looking for when his body shifts to either the center or to the opposite side, what he places in those spaces. facial expressions again. Um, he's signing really aggressively and pausing after no, 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 and he holds the sign, or the sign, with his facial expressions very angry, like. So, making sure when I voice that, it's not no, 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 it's no, 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 not no, 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 because that's not how he signed it. He had those pauses there for a reason. Okay, so right now his body shifted from being on the right hand side to the middle. He's showing how Sophia is getting very angry and very upset. She blew her top and she's screaming and yelling, and now she's leaving the house and running out the door. So he changed from her being inside the house, how he set that up on the right hand side, and now he's in the middle as her leaving the house and going to a different area. Right there, he just slowed his pace down. He was, showing how she was running really fast and then slowly decreased his pace and then signed tired. That's something to notice is if I'm voicing this, my pace as well needs to, speak at a rapid pace and then start to slow it down a little bit to match what he is signing. And the reason for that is he's showing her fatiguing out as she's running away from the house, and being able to do that with the intonation of my voice and my facial expressions, like maybe have my eyebrows up when I'm voicing it, and then as she gets tired, all that kind of my demeanor and everything to match the speakers. Right there, he just created a beautiful picture of her realizing where she is at in her environment. So he places the big rocks and the trees, and he has mouth warmings as he shows, the different things in the air. So making sure that I find the correct word to describe those things, and the placement. So when he's doing this, that means that there's rocks everywhere, trees, and all of that. I need to be able to create that picture and mimic where he placed things. Right there, he signed the big tree, and he slowed down his signs like big tree, and to slowing down his signs, he's emphasizing like this thing is huge, the tree, and because he did it really slowly, showed that it goes on forever. It's super tall. He showed like the branches and all the things coming out of the tree, and because his pace was slower and his eye gaze was directed at the tree, he is describing what the tree looks like now. He's using descriptive language, so making sure that in my interpretation I convey that using very descriptive language as well. So when Sophia climbed up to the tree and she's looking out over the horizon and he's describing what everything looks like, his pace is very calm and his signs just kind of flow from one thing into another, like the water, and then it sees it until she can't anymore in the water and sees it until it can't anymore, and shoulder shifting. It's not like sharp movements, it's very like relaxed and smooth, and the transitions are smooth. Um, so in the intonation of my voice, making sure that it matches that. Again, he refers to the right hand side when he's talking about Sophia sees her house, it's down there, and he shoulder shifts to the right to um, to reference where he set it up. And he's using eye gaze as he's showing that she's um, up higher and that her house is down lower. So he's kind of showing the distance between the two and the different, like the perspective and angles and views, how it's seen. So when he goes down like this, you can tell that, oh, her house is down the hill ways. When he's signing, everyone, I'm home, family, mom, dad, he's sweeping his eye gaze like he's looking for his family, or Sophia, excuse me, is looking for her family. Like she's scanning the house for one of her family members. Okay, so in this part, he's just reiterating what he accomplished when he was telling his story, and he was using listing to kind of keep his thoughts clear. Um, Again, just kind of like what he did at the beginning, where he kind of was waiting for that back channeling, and once he did, he signed good. Again, he leaned forward and said, "Okay," waiting for the audience to give him, something that says that they understand, and then he decides to move on. So, that's something that I did not see in my first video that I see now. He does a lot of head nodding too for back channeling. So he'll lean forward, head nod, and then lean back and um, give a couple more sentences, and then lean forward, head nod, and then come back and do a couple more sentences. So he lost my train of thought. So overall, with this video, there's a lot of shoulder shifting and places to meet space. A lot of his transitions from one topic to another, he'll use a rhetorical question, or to get back channeling, he'll sign good or okay or head nod to kind of finish an utterance and get ready to start a new one. His pace when he was during the story tried to set that emotional feel for it. So when he was signing super fast, it was supposed to show her like being angry and just, have lots of energy and just storming out of the house. And then when his pace kind of relaxed a little bit, it was more smoother. The signs kind of flowed together. One sign blended into another. And so making sure that my intonation of my voice matches that is really important. And another thing, when he was doing the storytelling, he was on the right hand side, set that up, and then was in the middle and set that up, and just the different areas that he set up his space, and being able um, to recognize it and be able to identify it and relate it to the different things that was going on.